Okay, get started. Thank you for braving the elements to be here. In front of you is the 89-page War and Peace edition of the CEDC board packet. And before we delve into it, I'd like to call upon Dr. Carla Drummer, who has some breaking news for us.
Breaking news, like David Muir. I'm happy and sad to report that I am retiring as of June 30th. So I just wanted to let you know how much I have enjoyed working with this group. I will obviously be here through June, but for those of you who are young, you reach a point in life where you think, oh my goodness, I have fewer years ahead of me than I have behind, and it's time. I'm a workaholic. A lot of you don't know me very well, but I've worked my whole life. I can't imagine, what's going to happen, but I tell you, I'm excited about opening the next chapter and seeing what adventures await. So anyway, but thank you all. It's just been great.
Congrats.
We value your friendship and your contribution to CEDC.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. Before we begin, one change in the agenda. I'm going to move the elect officers down to the governance and nominating committee report. Good. All right, we'll begin with the meeting minutes of December 17th, 2024. Anyone with questions or revisions? Did you say?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Now we have this gigantic housekeeping resolution which contains many parts. This is organizational business that the State Authorities Budget Office requires us to adopt every year. And I'm sure you've had a chance to read it thoroughly. I just want to call your attention to a couple of items in there. It starts on page 10. Page 10, Schedule A. So as part of this resolution, we're going to confirm our meeting schedule, which we have finalized. We're going to reappoint Michael Tucker as our president and CEO. We've already named UHY as the accounting firm for this year. Andy Howard being reappointed as our corporate counsel. Michael Linsky being reappointed as our ethics officers, the reappointment of the executive committee, and all the other committee members. I think the only new member of any of the committees is Christine. And Christine, you have been assigned to the governance and nominating committee. Appointment of banks and the corporation and the accounts. We have resources in several different accounts located in Columbia County. We are reapproving corporate policies. You can see on page 11 the list of them: Code of Ethics, Conflict of Interest, the Employee Manual, Minority Women Business Enterprise Policy, Investment Policy, Whistleblower Policy, and approval of documents, corporate documents for 2025 and 2024, discharge duties of the committees and board, page 12 is our compliance calendar. Summary of key actions of the board and when they fall in the county. Any questions on any of this? Clarifications? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay. On to the Governance and Nominating Committee. Rachel is here with that report.
We met and went over all of this housekeeping, and then also just for the record, we are, I guess, voting on the board of directors slate, which everyone stands, but I'll just read for the record, is James Calvin, board chair, Tara Gay, vice chair, Brian Mahoney, treasurer, and Michael Munsky, secretary. So we'll need, I guess, a motion to approve that slate.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Good not to have a change in leadership. For those of you who come forward.
so on behalf of myself and Tara and Mike and Brian, thank you very much for your confidence in us, and we're going to continue to need your input, your support, and your participation as we go forward. A couple of things we're going to need to focus on in the coming 12 months. We're going to need to fill these vacancies that we have on our board. We managed to have another quorum this month. Thank you for making it, but we're going to need to address this and get some of these positions filled. So anyone with ideas on who we could approach?
How many do we have? How many vacancies are there?
We have 3 right now. And there's a possibility of a 4th vacancy. And remember, our quorum is based on the number of seats, not the number of occupied seats. So anyone with any ideas, please let Tara know, let myself know.
Or Rachel.
Rachel. Yeah.
You can tell Tara too.
I'm on the.
So that's one thing. As we've discussed, we're going to need to update our strategic plan, and there'll be more about that in this meeting later on. And we'll need by summer to post position of president and CEO and get the interviews rolling so we can have the new person in place by the spring of 2026.
Mr. Chairman, before we go on the government nominating, I too have breaking news. I accepted a position at a architectural firm up in Albany, which starts in a couple weeks, and it's full time. And I'm not sure where my new bosses will stand on me missing mornings once or twice a month. I had to figure that out with them. So I'm not sure where my position sits on this board going further. So I don't know when timing to drop it, but then we start talking about all these seats open, like now it's good time as any. But yeah, so my future's me.
Congratulations.
That's exciting.
That's MCWV. I'm gonna be their videographer, digital documentation specialist, and drone pilot.
Wow.
Excellent.
Yep, they do architectural and restoration. I'll be traveling with them down the East Coast.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Very nice.
Good
Yeah,
for you.
so I'm excited, and yeah, hopefully I can still give time to
Yeah,
so much fun.
see how it plays out, and if you can stay, that's great. If you can't, we understand.
I'm trying, I'm fighting for it.
Excellent.
There's a lot of work going on in Hudson, and having your thumb on the pulse of Columbia County could bring jobs to them.
Okay.
A year later.
Our loan committee chair is not here for this meeting. So I'll ask Martha if you could review the loan portfolio with us, please.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Thank you, Tim. As we reported to the loan committee, loan client A sent in a check for $2,000 a week or so ago. That was very welcome news. They're still in arrears, but making an effort. Loan client B, as I again mentioned to the loan committee, they probably will be on this report for quite some time. We do expect that loan to be repaid when they can sell that asset. We just don't know when that will be. Loan client C sent in a payment. They're still 30 days behind, but we're in close touch with that client. Loan client D is no longer in arrears. They brought that account current, and we can see that they have set up recurring payments in the loan portal. So we only have 3 clients on here. That may be a first, and that may be the last time.
That's encouraging. Any questions on the portfolio?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask Steve Vandenberg to just to go over the legal size document in your handout. It's a summary of 15 or 10 years of the loan fund's progress and performance. Steve?
Yeah, so good morning, everybody. So in front of you is the legal size sheet of the past 10 years here at CEDC. Of note, in 2024, 40 loans closed to the dollar amount of $790,000. We currently have 157 loans active on our portal with an outstanding balance of $2.5 million. Funding from the SBA since 2011, $2.5 million. As you know, we hope to apply in 2025 for additional funding. Interest earned from 2025 total is, let's see the right column here, just over $750,000 of interest paid from our borrowers, which is a great number. And the other items of note, our micro enterprise and the training programs, we've had now 100 graduates from that. And our technical assistance program, which is funded from our SBA partner, just under 800 clients have received technical assistance from CEDC since 2015. This document was provided to Jeff Boyce in October during his annual visit to the office. And then it was updated at the end of 2024 so that Mike could present to the Board of Supervisors. And that's the document that you have before you today.
Jeff is the regional administrator for the SBA for the Capital Region, part of the Syracuse district. And I think the other really impressive number here is that over the 10 years, the total in loans, in addition to the 240 beneficiaries, was 5.8 million. And you know, we don't compete with our banking members and partners because these are primarily loans to businesses that would not qualify for a loan. But our goal is that by helping them at the early stages of the business, as they grow and develop and strengthen their business model and plan, that they will graduate, if you will, to commercial lenders, because we have a cap on how much we can lend, which is $50,000. And I think the other most impressive is the, you know, having been the board chair of a bank and on the board, and Justin knows this from his experience, to have $170,000 of write-offs over 10 years with a $5.8 million loans on the street is an incredible amount of diligence on primarily on Martha's part over the years, and now Martha and Steve. And also the fact that when you net out the write-offs you know, from the interest, you know, all of the remaining interest has gone into the county loan fund. We didn't take any for operations. And we have discussed, you know, as we go forward, looking at our budget, whether we should take an administrative fee on the county loan fund or not. But we did want to get it to a size where, with a 15% loss ratio and a managed loan process for each year, we could stay evergreen. So, and I think that number, Steve, is about $500,000 a year.
Yes.
So if we wanted to build the county loan fund, because the SBA, we have to pay them back the money that they lend us to lend to the client. But the county money, by putting the interest in that fund, we're in a position where with a 15% loss rate, which as you see, we've never had, we could stay in business forever with doing 5- and 7-year loans to small businesses in the community. So, thank you very much, Steve and Martha, and also to the rest of the staff, because there are components of what they do that others chip in and provide support and assistance. So thank you, everyone.
I want to kind of echo those comments. Thank you to the staff. Congratulations. Very impressive report. And thank you also to the loan committee. Any other observations about the portfolio before we move on?
I just have a question.
Sure.
I mean, there are some really nice figures here, but would this be promoted, like
Yes,
public relations?
I'm sitting here looking at Rick Rector. God rest his soul. He sat in that seat and said the same thing to us. How do you market this
results,
information? And
yeah.
I think that the Riley and I have talked about this with Martha and Steve. And really, as you know, the real trick is, how do you condense this where it's meaningful and not kitchen sink? So I think we may get our board chair involved with his background in marketing and media. But we did want to get it out to the supervisors and to the board before we took it on the road.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, good work.
There is one loan to report. It doesn't meet the threshold requiring board approval, but we did want to talk to you about it. Right?
This loan actually was approved by the loan committee earlier this month. The client is Reclaiming Fitness LLC. They're located in Catskill, and the amount was $12,000 from the SBA loan fund. It's a 48-month note, the interest rate is 7 3/4, and the purpose is purchase equipment and for working capital.
Questions? Thank you very much. On to the president and CEO report.
Did we vote on the portfolio?
Yeah, we need to vote on that.
Thank you.
to approve it.
Thanks, Mary. The motion on approving the loan portfolio.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll start with the treasurer's report. If you go to page 47 of the packet. You'll see that we have total assets of $5.27 million, up $442,000 from December 31st, 2023. If you jump up to the first quarter of the page and see total current assets, it shows that of the 442,000 increased assets, 431 are current increases in assets, and 300 of that is from the loan program and other grants that we received from New York State, primarily the micro enterprise grant program, and in addition to an increase in our operating bank accounts and our SBA loan fund accounts. With respect to the liabilities, you'll see that we did have $135,000 in office community renewal grants that were deferred. And that is also related to the micro enterprise program, and it matches the $135,000 in the asset column. We also increased our long-term liabilities by $314,000 over the year, which is an addition of SBA borrowing, which we have available to lend to our clients. And we had $46,000 in increased net income, which added to the equity of the organization. We've really continued to see the balance sheet grow. And you can also see that it's very dependent on, size of the balance sheet is very dependent on the loan program, which is why we wanted to start with the 10-year report. Are there any questions on the balance sheet? Go back a page to page 46 to the P&L. We had income of $1,541,000, which is $406,000 over budget. Again, that is primarily of the $389,000 that we received from the SBA or from the Office of community renewal for the micro enterprise program. You'll also see that grant expense is $414,000 over budget. So you'll see that those grants come in and we disperse them out. With respect to where we were under budget, we were $37,000 under budget on administrative revenue, primarily because several IDA projects that are in the pipeline did not close in 2024 as anticipated. And that's primarily the K&R project in Hudson, which is Schuyler Court and Providence Hall Section 8 housing projects, which we anticipate will close before March 1st of this year. That's a project, a very interesting project where the developer is coming in and buying 35-year plus apartments. And their model is to go in and do a complete rehab of the apartments without displacing the residents. So on Monday, everybody goes to the common room, and while they're there, they get a new refrigerator. On Tuesday, they get a new stove. On Wednesday, all the bedrooms are painted. On Thursday, all the living rooms are painted. They've done this in cities across the state. Mayor Johnson and I did speak with the mayors of Herkimer and Kingston, and this company has a great reputation. And the importance of it is there are 151 units, and had those units gone market, had someone not come in and purchase them to sustain the Section 8 eligibility, there'd be 150 families who would be displaced. So there was some issues with the state and with HUD that we engaged ourselves with on behalf of the developer, but we're very excited that that's finally coming to fruition. And we our deal with the IDAs, as you will recall, is they get 1% of the total project cost, and it's about a $28 million project. We get 10% of what the IDA gets, so we'll get a $28,000 fee for closing that deal. We get $1,000 a month basically to run the IDA, but we get a 10% of the fee that they receive to compensate us for the extra work that comes from individual projects. On the expense side, we also see that the SBA number is higher, but that's because we did get, we weren't sure what the SBA was going to do when we were budgeting, because the SBA is on a July 1 through June 30th year. So we try to, we don't know what we're going to get when we're doing the budget. On the expense side, we have to date written off $3,500 in bad debt, and I will come back to that in a moment. Our direct program expense was the added cost of our annual meeting, because we had it at the falls and had to bring in catering versus what it would have cost if we'd done it Kozel's. We are $78,000 under budget for employment expense, but that is because it was not until February, or it was not until November that Alondra joined us after Jessica had left the year before. Our rent is higher because we paid a $5,000 fee to get a 5-year extension of the lease. So the organization now has a 10-year lease for the space rather than a 5-year. Our grant expense is up again because of the revenue that came in that we then dispersed. We are a little bit over on new initiatives, but everything else is under budget. The result being that we have $62,000 in net income versus $20,000 negative net income that we budgeted. So we have $82,000 to the good on compared to the budget. The $62,000, we are working with the accountants. The finance committee and the board did authorize up to $30,000 to be added to our loan loss reserve account. The finance committee is recommending that we transfer 25,000. So that will reduce the 62,000 by 25. And there are 2 or 3 items that are under $5,000 that are on our books, that one related to broadband and one related to CEDC, the transfer of land from the IDA to the Columbia Land Conservancy that the Finance Committee is recommending that we write off. But it will still show that we had a positive net income for the year for anyone looking at our financial reports in 990s going forward. Are there any questions on the P&L? One page before that quickly is does show the importance of our loan program. On an operating basis, we were $51,000 negative net income. And if you look at the loan fund and the SBA all the way across, there's over $100,000 of revenue that's attributable to the loan fund, not counting the SBA grant that gave us the $62,000 in profit. We are watching that carefully that we don't continue to subsidize the operations through loan program when we're putting all the interest in the loan program in the loan fund. If there's no further questions, Mr. Chairman, I request that you approve the treasurer's report.
Do that officially. Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item, Mr. Chairman, is the Columbia County Administrative Services contract. For as long as anyone can remember, and as long as I've been here, which is almost 10 years, we have received $460,000 from Columbia County as a fee for providing economic development services to the county, which allows them not to have an economic development office. Some counties have an economic development office within county government. Many others have the model that we have here in Columbia County, where the county contracts with a local development corporation, which is a membership organization under the New York State not-for-profit law. That contract is a one-year agreement, and it's for has been for the last, at least the last 10 years, $460,000 a year. We're very grateful to the Board of Supervisors for including $460,000 in their 2025 budget. And the Board of Supervisors Economic Development Committee, chaired by Supervisor Brian Skoda, who's with us today, approved that and are recommending to the full board to approve it at their February board meeting. We have before you the contract to approve on behalf of CEDC, but assuming and provided that the County Board of Supervisors approves it in mid-February. That way we wanted to wait till March to get it signed. So we're asking you to approve that agreement. The county did come up with a new form of contract this year, which is why you can see in the lined copy that there are some changes, but those are primarily legal standardization for all vendors that the county does business with.
Ryan is chairman of the Economic Development Committee of the Board of Supervisors. Anything to?
May it pass committee without questions unanimously. We're very grateful for all the work that CEDC does. I would support the board approving this contract.
We appreciate your leadership of the committee and for your endorsing the approval of this contract. Any questions, any clarifications? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Broadband, Rachel can give us an update, but basically right now, the internet service providers have till February 7th to submit their first round of bids on the 6 polygons that have been established. So we're going to provide letters of support to any of the internet service providers who request it. They do get extra points for that. And the state has indicated that letters of support, can be provided to all internet service providers. You don't have, the county doesn't have to decide which, we don't get to put an extra weight on the scale of competition. This way, anyone that would like one, we will work with to get one. We are working through the digital equity grant that we received. We have a meeting with Empire State Development next week to begin the discussions of implementation of that grant. I'll know more about how the scope of that work will be done. It's a 2-year grant, total of $120,000, $60,000 a year. We have a $15,000 a year match, but the match can be with in-kind staff services.
Mike, what's the number of unserved households with broadband? It's at 700 something?
We're down to 500. The one issue that I should mention is Consolidated is doing about 135 addresses under a USDA grant that then Congressman Delgado was able to secure. But on December 27th, Consolidated merged with a private equity firm in Boston. And the SBA, or the USDA, who is the funding source for the grant, has requested all new legal documents. We understand it's not at risk, but the sooner we can get that signed, more comfortable.
So that puts the brakes on whatever they're doing until that's done.
Yeah. Now,
All those addresses are just gonna be BEAD eligible now, so
Yeah.
anybody can apply for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had to have the challenges in by January 17th, which means, because all the information is inaccurate that the state has. And they didn't remove a lot of the addresses that providers are saying they cover. And they put them into this mix anyway and saying that they're BEAD eligible. So then it was on all the providers to say, no, we service this address, or we're in enforceable commitments with contracts for these addresses. And then now we're just hoping that they'll get removed, but we won't know until probably way after February 7th. So
the state's position is that there's about 1,180 addresses.
So they have a double.
in
well,
Columbia
and
County.
there's some problems. I mean, first of all, the state is not using federal information, so federal and state don't agree on how they get this information, so it's always gonna be inaccurate, just like it was the last time they did the grants. And then you're also counting on the fact that all the internet providers have done their filings on time, which means every year we do 2 filings stating where we service and provide map proof coverage. So we do that in December and we do it again in July. So we do it twice a year. And I know for a fact that some companies locally have not done their filings in over a year. So, and I think Archtop bought GTEL. The person who always did it at GTEL left and they went to another provider. So I know that it has not been done at GTEL for over a year. So, and they're in trouble with the PSC for that. But that's what's causing all of the inaccurate information. So now all these addresses that GTEL 100% covers are being put into BEAD eligible funding. So you're just hoping that they challenge them, but I don't know that they will. Same thing with Consolidated. There's a ton in Consolidated's territory that we know they cover that the state thinks they don't.
And I think as Rachel points out, the difficulty is that the RFP process says that the provider has to bid on all addresses in the quadrant.
Mhm.
But if you know that they are served, how are you gonna bid on them and then pocket the change, or are you gonna?
Well, I asked them 2 weeks ago and I haven't gotten a
They didn't get
response
back to me
from
either.
their office. From the Empire State Development's office, I asked them if we bid on an entire quadrant like we're supposed to, but we know that there's things that are probably being challenged by other organizations. And, we're saying, okay, it's gonna cost us $3 million to build out all these addresses you have in this quadrant. When we know for a fact that there's probably 200 addresses that are covered by Consolidated or something. So I said, when companies much like ourselves go in and challenge these, how are you backing them out of people's bids? So, you know, if I'm saying it's gonna cost $3 million to build this quadrant, and then you come back and say, oh, wait, actually, 400, you thought there was 400 addresses here, there's only 200, so now how are you gonna adjust your bid? I said, so is that what you're gonna have people do? Cause like, you're wasting everybody's time
Well, and the other side of it
and
was,
resources,
some
you know?
providers are hoping that you bid 3 million and you build the half of the ones that need to be built and you keep the money for something else. And, you know, how does the taxpayer think about that? So.
Well, yeah, and
So-
that's what happened with the last grant too, and we brought that up, you know, that they were double dipping in taxpayer money and they didn't care and they didn't correct it, so.
And so we really
that's
appreciate
how it works.
the partnership that we have with all 4 providers, but you know, with Rachel on our board, it's been a real help to be able to get the understanding of how they're operating. I had a very unusual email yesterday. I think the state is concerned. They asked that each county provide, and the chair of the board of supervisors from CEDC, the contact, he gets copied, but please provide by 5 o'clock tomorrow a update as to which providers in your county have asked for letters of support. So they're nervous that nobody's.
Well, I know for a fact, like the bigger companies aren't applying, they've said we're not doing it. So you know, like Spectrum, Charter, they've already said they're not doing it. I don't know if you, like, do you know if the new consolidated people have said that they're going to?
They were looking at it, but again, the role that we play to be neutral, sometimes I
Right.
wasn't asking questions.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to know and then have someone
Well,
else ask me.
And you don't want them to feel like pressure
Yeah,
that they have.
But
to.
now, I'm gonna call the others, because you did ask for a letter, so.
Yep.
I'm gonna call the others and say, what do you think about the state asking if you want a letter? And if you want a letter, you need to let us know, because it's due next Friday and I need to get it written.
I mean,
And-
they haven't said anything to us about those letters. This
No.
is just me going through the countless templates that are required for this grant, and I happened to find that template, and I was like, okay, well, I better ask Mike for a letter of support.
Well, the good news is, unless you're one of the 550 that don't have broadband, that we brought it down from 3,500 with a consistent effort, and we're gonna work to follow through to the last one and move forward.
What I'm more nervous about is the areas, and it doesn't apply to Columbia County now because that USDA money is off the table, or maybe off the table, is all of the areas that internet providers have enforceable commitments to that they received ARPA funding for. Like, for example, we've received $10 million in ARPA funding that we are building right now and are committed to building and have contracts. And all of those addresses are on the BEAD eligibility list. And if they don't remove them, not only are they going to use federal funds to build them again, they're going to waste county ARPA funds. For
And the
Albany
time and
Green
effort
County.
that you spent to get
And
it.
so I'm really scared about those, because when that happened in 2017, the first time, they didn't remove any of the addresses, and so I'm really nervous about that.
So it's fun, but we're chipping away at it.
Yeah, no, like literally, like.
The good part is we get to hear both sides of it with Rachel.
I have a quick question. Rachel, is there any talk about emerging technologies like Starlink that are trying to change the way satellite
So
broadband's working?
we have an attorney that specifically like advises us on the grants and the federal funding and state funding. And I asked him about that because first of all, I was concerned with some of the freezes that are going on right now was on the infrastructure grants, because the broadband is considered an infrastructure grant. So I asked him to find some federal clarification on that. He said he doesn't seem to think that the BEAD funding will be affected because they've already committed all these funds statewide throughout the nation. But what he does think is going to happen is that, just kind of like what Mike was indicating, they're a little bit nervous because I don't think they're going to get people to apply like they think they are. And what he thinks is going to happen is either there's gonna be a lack of applying, or the applications are gonna be astronomical in cost, because I can tell you right now, for what we're bidding on in Columbia County, just one quadrant, it's coming in at $40,000 a home. Those are the homes that are still left behind, and it's gonna cost us 40 grand to get to each of those homes.
Or you would have already done.
Right, and that's what's left, all the ones that people would have already done, but there's major issues. So they're gonna come, probably see some of these prices and be like, oh my God, like, we don't have enough money to actually fulfill this program, or, you know, whatever. And so he thinks that that's when they're gonna basically change the grant, come back out, hope that's, allow Starlink to bid, because right now they can't. Because that's what they made the mistake the last time, they gave $40 million to HughesNet, and it didn't help.
Yeah, I had to use that, I used to have satellite and it was horrible.
Yeah, so that's what they think, that's what the attorneys think, that is they're gonna kind of make it so that other companies can apply, but some of the nuances with that of New York State is that they just came down with this affordable broadband program for New York State, and they will be the only state in the nation that does this, and they're trying to be a benchmark. But it's any company that has less than 20,000 subscribers has to offer a $15 internet plan. And it's like supposedly all on the company to verify whether this person meets the eligibility, which is like, for us, that would be like having to hire a whole other person to manage that type of program. But Starlink filed and they want an exemption from it. But they have 4 million subscribers throughout the world. AT&T already pulled out of New York State for home internet services because they don't want to be subject to the program. And so if they make an exception for Starlink, they're gonna have to change the whole program. And I just don't, I think it's actually gonna end up being a bargaining chip. And I think that New York State's gonna, like, they're not ready for this program.
There'll be a bargaining chip to get the providers to come back to the table, because the part of the reason that Spectrum and Charter, they had to agree to that discounted program as part of a settlement. But the others are saying, no, we're not going to bid, and then when they don't have anyone to bid, they're gonna have to come back to us and we'll negotiate.
Yeah, and there's ways around, I mean, we have 3 companies, so not one of our, all under, like, we have 3 subsidiaries, so we can get an exemption for each company. But, and that's what other people are probably gonna try to do, is open other companies, and then the PSC is not gonna allow that. So it's just gonna, it's like a really big can of worms, and it's all because New York State wants to be the first one, you know, that gets this program off the ground.
Thank you, Rachel. Moving on to housing, state has told us we've done a terrific job in comparison to other counties on broadband, but we are also the first county in New York State to have each of its towns, cities, and villages sign letters of intent to participate in the governor's pro-housing community program. And Chris Brown, who gets all of the credit for that effort, is in Schenectady this morning. I was at the State of the State, and I told the governor that we were the first county in the state, and she said, "That's great, Mike, we should celebrate that." Well, she picked this morning at 9:30 in Schenectady to celebrate it, and so I couldn't come. But anyway, so Chris is there with Supervisor Ron Knott and Supervisor Brenda Adams, who are the co-chairs of our housing task force, and we will be live streaming it at 9:45. They did ask for some of the data, and one of the most interesting pieces of data since 2018 to 2024, Columbia County has had an 87.5% increase in the median sale price of homes. It's the second largest in the Hudson Valley. Sullivan County was larger at 120%, but they started at homes with 130,000, where we started at 240. So, but we're moving forward with the land bank. We're moving forward with the accessory dwelling units. We received 19 applications for that program. We can only give out 12 grants. It was a $2 million grant, and we have 4 viable housing projects under consideration in the county. The Galvin project that you see behind us, they want to build a second project. And the Greenport project that the county IDA had approved previously for Redburn, who backed out. There's another developer moving forward to hopefully take that project on. There's a small 29-unit project in Galatia at the old River Street Mill. that is back in play. And there's a potential single-family home development, which might be rental as opposed to home ownership. That's under consideration as well. So, you know, part of our housing task force was not just to talk about the problem, get grant money for, you know, one-off programs, but to actually work with the communities to identify available sites and match up developers to be able to move forward with these projects. We have workforce and education on the list. You know, I think we continue to work with Amanda, and we are trying to find our place there because there are so many people who it's their day job. We want to be supportive, but between the Workforce Investment Board and the college, the 6 school districts, and the New York State Labor Department office, I did tell Commissioner Reardon last night that we're very pleased with Emma Cohen, who had worked for Senator Hinchy, who is now her regional representative for the Capital Region. And she indicated that if there was anything that she could help with, she was happy to do that. So we, you know, continue to look at workforce and education, considering we, for almost 5 years, have been the lowest unemployment in the state, where we might be outshined by a decimal point or two by Saratoga or Tioga County. But consistently, we have been in the lowest, and it's certainly evident by you know, the number of WANACs that are out there. I included in your packet a piece that Riley Werner of our staff has prepared. It's a year-end report, and urge you to review it. We will send it out electronically as well. I also included on December 27th, Governor Hochul announced the Regional Economic Development Council awards, and Columbia County had 8 projects totaling $12.3 million. I was a little disappointed because last year we were close to 50% of the funds that were allocated in the Capital Region. This year we're at 42%. We have 7% of the population, so we're still playing above our weight. As you can see, some of them are for studies for the climate action and the COPAY comprehensive plan. Very excited about the bakery expansion in Chatham, some culvert replacements, some money for the Harlem Valley Rail Trail. The carbon neutral energy project is at Hawthorne Valley Farm, and the combined sewer overflow is in Hudson. And that's where they need to separate. They have a combined sanitary and sewer with, you know, when water goes down in the street, and they need to get that separated. If you take the $10 million out, we still have 14% of the money that was allocated. We're also, I think I may have provided this second report on arts organizations at our last meeting, but I couldn't remember if it was at a committee meeting. But the county did receive $619,000 in grants related to arts organizations. And in many cases, CEDC provided assistance with the application itself or letters of support. So another area where we, in connection with the upcoming strategic plan, Mr. Chairman, I just included a chart that shows the timeline. And I also, you know, if you look at that, the goal is to have a board presentation at our March meeting. So we're working with the consultant now to review background documents. They're preparing a board survey that we're hoping to have to you in the next 2 weeks. Then we'll have a couple of sessions with the consultant, and then they'll put together a plan for our review and discussion at a board meeting so that it will be in a position to present it at the annual meeting at the end of April.
To clarify, if I may, the consultants will facilitate a workshop
Yes.
of the board of all of us at the February 25th meeting. And so what we'll do that day is try to confine our regular business to maybe a half an hour, and then devote the 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock hour to the workshop. And then the consultants will take that information back with them that they have gleaned from the conversation and put it into the form of a report or a draft at least. We'll polish it and it'll be ready to be approved and go to the annual meeting with an updated strategic plan.
To get you started with some of the thought process here, I did include the most recent quick facts from the U.S. Census Bureau, providing kind of a profile of the county, from population to housing, some economic and labor information. And one thing this didn't have was, well, I guess they do on the last page, businesses. So they say there's approximately 2,000 businesses in Columbia County. And we kind of confirmed that with PPP 1 and 2, but many of those, so there's 10% of those businesses who have gone out of business and 10% that have started up since then. Finally, Mr. Chairman, on the agenda is discussion of the annual meeting plan. I know we have an internal meeting with staff tomorrow, this week.
Yeah.
To begin the logistical planning, but I'll turn it over to you for any thoughts on venue and speakers.
We have, Mike and I have brainstormed this a little bit. One possibility is the caboose, which is located across from the Hudson train station. A couple of you have attended functions there and come back with good feedback. And if you all agree, we'll focus on trying to negotiate favorable terms for that. Any concerns, objections, alternatives you'd like to bring to our attention before we get too far down the road on the caboose? Okay. And in terms of speakers, we don't, there are a lot of possibilities, but none that we haven't made any decisions or no one leading the pack. So, and if any of you have suggestions for an appropriate guest speaker, please let us know.
With all due respect, I think we have discussed eliminating elected officials.
I appreciate that.
We don't need to have controversy.
Mr. Chair, one thing I picked up at the Columbia County Chamber meeting last week is the caboose is not cheap.
Mhm.
So just.
We're hoping, based on the assistance that we have provided over a long period of time to Ben and his projects, that it may be helpful for him because he has a major development plan proposed in that area, and he to build community support. But yeah, we've heard that too.
Yeah. The chamber was going to have a dinner there in the spring, and it was out of control with respect to the pricing. So I just thought I'd give you that.
We're planning to have lunch with Ben in the next week or two, Jim and I.
Yeah, the hospital's out. Yeah, I looked into them for something too.
And I think when you were looking at events, even Hudson Hall was $4,000 a day.
Yeah, venues, private
It's like
venues for
really
public service events are, there's just not really a balance.
You could come to the college.
That's always been our backup, Carly. We appreciate it. I think what you point out is, to the extent others are asking, it's hard for him to give it to us. We'll see.
Mike, there's a handout titled RETC 2024 Award for Columbia County.
Yes, that was what I had mentioned.
Oh, that's
where
the
we-
arts organization.
The arts organization was a separate grant program through the New York State Art Council of the Arts. And the other sheet was the Regional Council Awards. And we do have a Regional Council meeting next Tuesday at SUNY Albany. And we also are meeting quarterly now, organized by the Center for Economic Growth with the 8 county economic development directors. So my counterparts in the 7 other counties, Warren, Washington, Albany, Schenectady, Rensselaer, Saratoga, and Greene counties. And that's very helpful as well. And we also stay in close contact with Greene County because of not only there's so many organizations, whether it's the Board of Realtors, whether it's mental health, whether it's the college, whether it's Questar, where both counties are covered. We have a lot of back and forth with the county administrator and the deputy Warren Hart and James Hanish, who runs their economic development.
We are also on the workforce system doing regional meetups. I'll be spending all day tomorrow with Saratoga, Warren, Washington, Fulton, Montgomery, and the Capital Region Workforce Development Board members and partnering with CEG. So I think we're putting together kind of a regional plan for us that afterwards I'll be connecting with you and with James on the economic development side to incorporate, how we can kind of further both of our, our goals and our mission together.
And it's really impressive because from my understanding over the years that this group of 4 workforce boards is really the only group that anyone's aware of in the country that get together on a regional basis, and they have for many years.
Yeah.
So
We get together monthly, but we have a full day of kind of strategic prioritizing tomorrow in Glens Falls, really all day, because
make sure they come to Hudson the next time. So
yeah, but I know we were in Albany, now I have to go up there, so next time is down here,
but it's great, and that's
Yeah.
why our board, for those of you who may not have been here at the time, during COVID, there was some transition going on at the workforce board and at the college workforce office, the state workforce office, and with Dr. Drummer and Church from Questar and others, we kind of had an ad hoc group that I think we were meeting every other week by phone to try to make sure that we were focused on workforce issues. But now that it's fully staffed and we kind of step back, and as we look through prisms, what do we lead? Where are we partners? And then where are we supporters? And certainly workforce is very important to our membership and to our community. So we are supporters. The final thing there is Jessica Gabriel had been our representative to the Workforce Investment Board because they are now going to in-person meetings only. She, because her job is not able to continue to serve, and the Board of Supervisors Economic Development Committee at our request are going to recommend that Chris Brown be the member representing CEDC to the Workforce Board at the meeting in February. So
which will lend that perspective that is kind of the one piece that we bring experts in to talk about, but to have that representation on a regular basis, I think will be really beneficial. My counterpart in Albany always says that workforce development is economic development and vice versa. So, solidifying kind of those partnerships is really important to us.
great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Membership renewal efforts are underway. And thank you to those of you who have already renewed your membership for 2025. Those of you who have not, we've got a little nudge for you. Just a reminder, we want the board to set the pace for the membership renewal effort. And so as soon as you can get those payments to us, we appreciate it very much.
You gave it the office.
We'll provide you with an update on who has renewed their membership and who is still working on renewing their membership. And we're always seeking new members as well, so keep your eyes and ears out for potential new members that we could attract. Let's see. No one here from the public? Anyone else have anything to bring up? Any breaking news?
More breaking.
Oh,
news.
more breaking.
More breaking.
So our
news.
correspondent.
Last week, research.com announced its best value colleges. And Columbia Green is in the top 5 in the state of New York,
Okay,
and in
great.
the top 9 in the Northeast.
Isn't that
So
great?
we're very proud of that. It's obviously it's based on affordability, but also on student satisfaction. So we're very, very proud of that
It
ranking.
should be.
Can you get us that for our newsletter?
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Looking ahead to February meetings, loan committee meets February 10th. 2 meetings on February 11th, 8:30 governance and nominating committee meets, 9:30 the search committee meets. And then our board meeting with the strategic planning workshop is February 25th at 8:30. Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you for your help.
Thank you, everyone. Can you finally